Hi, folks. It's Pastor Kerry here, and today we're talking a little bit more about gaslighting. Seems to be a big topic because, I think it happens to a lot of folks, particularly when we've experienced a betrayal. And what we want to talk about today is some of the tip-offs that you're being gaslit. Now, there are tip-offs that you should watch for that tell you when you're being gaslit, and we're going to be in this video taking a look at some of the biggies. So let's go ahead and we will get started. Hello, hello, hello.
Is this thing on?
Is my microphone working? Oh, mercy. So how's it going, Karen? What's happening?
Not much. How's it going with you?
You know, it, you don't want to know. Well, I guess that you wouldn't have asked if you didn't want to know. But
Yeah.
things are fine. How about that? I'll say that. Things are fine. So I
You-
I've been
You're,
working I've been working like a crazy man trying to get a particular sermon ready to go. And it's
mhm.
really been a a lot of research I have
Yeah.
to put into it. But hey, I don't mind that. It's just sometimes a little bit daunting. And so
Mhm.
I still have a little bit to go before that's done, but I'll be glad to have that behind me.
Yeah. I hope
You
it
know.
goes well.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So we're talking here today about some of the tip-offs. How about just from your personal experience? What have you found to be some of the tip-offs when it comes to being gaslit? And by the way, and not only the tip-offs, I got to turn my phone off to make sure that nobody bugs me. So, and that, or at least interrupts our broadcast. That's a nicer way to say it. So,
Everybody bugs you, right? Just some people interrupt you.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know what really grinds my gears? So, all
Uh,
right, but okay. So we want to talk about some of these tip-offs. But how about for you? When you've experienced gaslighting yourself,
mm,
maybe you weren't even aware of what was happening, but then in the aftermath of it, you became knowledgeable on these things. Talk a little bit about things that you've experienced.
all right. So here's some of my 2020 vision because
Yeah,
they say
yeah,
hindsight
hindsight.
is
Yeah,
20. Otherwise, a lot of times I'm kind of blind going into
yeah,
some,
really, really.
but or blindsided, but um, that what they're saying doesn't end up matching either what they're doing, they contradict themselves, or it's like you find out later, no, that's nowhere near what is reality,
Yeah, and then you're crazy. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
is it? No, 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 no. You're crazy. What are you talking about? That didn't happen.
Right. Yeah.
You know. Well, I see that more and more in our culture. It's a scary
Mhm.
thing. But
Yeah.
all right, well, let's just go ahead. We'll see what Dr. Cloud has to say about this. We've been taking snippets and doing some reaction videos based on what he has to say. And so we're going to look at that and see what we can learn. So let's go ahead and listen to this clip. It's a little bit longer than we normally do, about 3 minutes, but it has a lot of good content in it. So let's watch him at this time.
What are the things you can look out for? Well, invalidation is the big word. They take your experience and they invalidate it. Validation is when we see somebody's experience and validate it as that's their experience. I'm sad about this. Instead of saying, well, that's not sad, say, gosh, tell me why that was sad for you. and we hear where somebody else is coming from. Minimize, that's not a big deal. Why are you so upset about it? Denial, I didn't do that. What are you talking about? You have an experience, and somehow they talk you out of what you just experienced. Experience is the key word, getting in touch with your experience of events, feelings, things that happened, things they did, your own pain, all of that, your own thoughts, even. They'll literally tell you that you're not remembering what just happened, withholding or stonewalling. In other words, that's not engaging. They diminish you in some ways, so what you've experienced can't be true. Stereotyping somebody and diminishing what they've experienced because of the label that you put on them, very, very powerful. How about these phrases? Well, you're just being oversensitive. Or you're so negative. You're just trying to control me. Or how about this one? Well, you're paranoid. You just don't trust me. What are you questioning my integrity? Well, I wasn't, but I am now, would be a good answer. Well, you're just imagining things. You're overreacting. How about this one? Calm down. Just calm down. And they're just trying to minimize some reaction. That never happened. No, that didn't happen. You're always remembering things wrong. You rewrite history. Or how about this one? You're just too emotional. You're being too emotional. And they will wear you down. That's what invalidation does. It wears down your sense of reality. And then we're lost. Use a lot of projection. You're so controlling, or you're so this, or you're so that. They're describing themselves. Watch when they describe themselves and accuse you of being that way. They'll triangulate around you. They'll bring in others to kind of like fuse with them. I'll suggest, going to marriage counseling, for example, and I'll hear from the caller, well, I'm married to a narcissist, and we tried marriage counseling, and he just convinced the counselor of false reality, and the counselor believed him. They'll triangulate, get other people on their side because they're not really seeing what and they're seeing the charming one and all of that. And sometimes they'll minimize outside voices. You'll find somebody or somebody else that validates you and go, well, they're an idiot. And they minimize the outside validation of your reality that you're getting.
So, tell me some of your thoughts about that. Have you ever experienced any of that stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're just misremembering. Calm down, Karen. Come on. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I think one of the things that stood out to me, not so much in the video, but when I was like reading some of the notes from the session and everything, is that a lot of these things, if you're looking from the outside in, it looks like both people, either one of them could be the gaslighter.
Yeah. That's good.
Because minimization, if one person is claiming that the other person is doing it, then maybe the other person is the one really doing it. Denial, stonewalling, invalidation, all those things. It's like, so it's hard. I think it's hard because in a lot of relationships where somebody is being gaslit, it's almost like what he was saying. They're accusing you of the very thing that they're doing.
Yeah.
So it looks the same on both sides, where I think the complicated thing about gaslighting is it's about intent. And the thing that, at least that's what I understand, is that somebody who's gaslighting, they're doing it for the purpose of trying to get the other person to doubt their feelings, memories, perceptions, so as a way to gain control. Which, how do you really tell intent when
from the
somebody's
outside? Yeah.
deceptive, So I think that's where it just gets really complicated.
Yeah, and that's why it works so effectively. You know, I know for in my experience, and all I can do is share with you from my experience, is that when I was going through a very painful betrayal, is that there was a group of people that crafted a particular narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that was not the case.
Yeah.
But they also were able to promote that narrative to other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so then, it kind of spreads out from there. And there were a lot of times that I had to step back and really do an assessment of did I get this all wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I am overreacting, or maybe I'm crazy, or whatever. But every time, and I have for the most part, I think I have a pretty strong sense of self. Mm-hmm. And so whenever I would hear this narrative that invalidated my experience, mm-hmm. instead of being in a context where we could discuss that in the presence of a neutral third party, and I even proposed that when I was going through that. I said, hey, let's bring in a conflict management expert and let them, because I'm not afraid of being told I'm wrong, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I am afraid of being told I'm wrong when I'm not,
Right.
And so I love that word that he used at the beginning of his talk. And he had so many good things in that particular clip. But mm-hmm. I love that word that he used, invalidation. Mm-hmm. Gaslighters are masters at invalidating your sense of reality, or your understanding of reality, and your sense of self. Right. And particularly when they're people in authority, mm-hmm. because, and people with credentials, that can really, make you think that, well, maybe I am crazy, I had to really work at it. I really did on some occasions. I really had to work at it, and I would play the loop over and over and over, and I would talk to other people who were independent, and I say, hey, help me to understand this. Do you think I really went off the rails here or whatever? And but yeah, it's bad enough when it's you against one,
right?
But when it's you against a group of folks that carry some clout.
Mm.
That can really be rattling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard when you're the underdog.
Yeah, exactly. So what are some of the other things that he said there that jumped out at you?
So one of the things that he said about, people who want to go into counseling, but they say, well, mm-hmm. they're a narcissist, and they get a counselor to just see things the way that they see them, mm-hmm. side by side. Mm-hmm. I've been in a situation like that. Even I had to go through a negotiation, and the mediator was like, oh, well, they're really nice, and they're really
of course
good.
They are.
Like,
every skilled manipulator is always nice.
She was saying, the negotiator was saying, like, usually one party is yelling and all this stuff, and they're over there just really compliant and complacent and everything. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, because they are controlling the narrative.
Exactly. So, well, there's a lot more that we could say about this, and we will in another video. But before we jump off, is there anything else that you'd like to comment on?
Not really. I mean, just besides that, like it is very confusing and hard to kind of figure out. And I think it ends up being something where both parties I know there's been times where my husband and I have even gone like, well, you're gaslighting me and you haven't, no, you
No,
and,
you're.
and getting an argument over it. And it's like, well, uh, the intent behind it, like I'm not
Hmm.
trying to,
Yeah,
control
yeah, yeah.
him
Gotcha.
that,
Hmm.
but and he wasn't trying to control me. So I think sometimes we got to step back and like there are times where denial or stonewalling or minimization or invalidation isn't necessarily gaslighting.
Yeah,
I think that um, there you kind of got to call a spade a spade. Like
yeah.
you know, I don't think that every little thing is gaslighting,
No,
but
no, no, no. Yeah. I guess there's a fine. There's a.
pervasive pattern,
Is it what?
like a pervasive pattern, like
Yeah, there you
what
go.
that person's agenda,
Yeah, yeah. There's a fine line to being oversensitive about
Mhm,
things
mhm,
and being duped. And
mhm,
so you got to kind of like figure out that sweet spot. And I guess maybe I would boil it down to one word: discernment. We need to
mhm.
pray for greater discernment in these types of issues. Well, I'm going to
Yeah.
go ahead and wrap up this installment of our broadcast, and then we'll have another video down the way where we can share a little bit more on these topics. But I've really been enjoying this series, and I hope that they've been beneficial not only to you, Karen, but also to the folks that are watching. So, and so that's what we're all about here at Beyond Betrayal. It's a program that's a part of our New Destiny coaching ministry, and our goal is to help equip you to be able to find out how that life can be good again beyond betrayal. And sometimes that betrayal is profound and deep and shattering. But I just really believe at the core of my being that life can be good again beyond betrayal. All you have to do is kind of figure out a good way forward. And that's what we're trying to do, is equip you with the resources to do that. So I hope that you watch our next installment on this series of gaslighting. I think we got a couple more episodes to go, but that's